had a busy week. Very busy week. An acting liaison for the... Hey, good morning! Acting liaison for an IT upgrade that's going on at the company I work at. It is a task and a half that, oddly enough, has me working more often later than usual. So yeah, dude, I've been looking at these for like 2 years, and everybody I talk to in typity land, and I ask about the guitar, everybody's always said they're really great. And I was coming back from... Now, we haven't spoken in a bit, have we? I was coming back from Arizona, and I stopped off at In-N-Out Burger north of Salem, Oregon, on the way home, as I was saying. And I decided that, eating it there is not great. I mean, look, hey, there's a Guitar Center right over there. So I drove over, and I ate my burger, and I walked into Guitar Center. I walk in. There's a real nice fella behind the... I wouldn't say behind the counter, but he was sitting over next to, like, the guitar test area with all sorts of gear. And I start to yak, yeah, blah, 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 just drove 3,000 miles, blah, blah, blah. Hey, how you been? I'm good. No, it was a great trip. Oh, yeah, nope. Thought I'd stop off and do such and such. And the guy got up. And when he got up, this was behind him. So, hey, good morning. I don't know. RGST is all consonants, so it's probably very difficult to pronounce. Something like that. Good morning, though. How are you? So, but at any rate, so the guy stood up, and this was behind him, and I'm like, oh, no. I've wanted one of those for 2 years, and it's a decent price. Oh, okay, I'll play it. So I said, hey, you mind if I go ahead and play? And he said, no, go right ahead, because it's Guitar Center, and of course, they'll let you play. And so I sat down, and he said, well, what do you... And I asked, can I plug into something? And, I wanted to get a feel for the pickups, because some people have said the pickups are a little on the weak side. Winhan, hello, how are you? Going on with the story, I plug into a Fender Tone Master, and I don't know what it was going through, but it was going through stuff, and it sounds great. By the way, the Tone Master Pro, I think, is quite an outstanding little unit. So if you have the means, I suggest you might at least try one, or maybe, even pick one up. I saw one on Craigslist a couple of weeks ago. After trying this out, guy was selling it for like half the price of new. And I was like, hey, guy, would you want to trade Jackson Rhodes for that? And maybe a bunch of stuff, like pedals or whatever. Guy never got back to me. I even gave him an alternate, like, well, what if you're more of a Strat guy? Well, I've got a couple of things for you. How about this Schecter Nix Johnson? And how about this? How about that? And yeah, never got back to me, which is unfortunate because it was a unit that I was genuinely interested in picking up after trying it out with this. So what do I mainly play in terms of music? Well, I'll tell you what I play in terms of music. Stuff like that. Let's do sixes instead. Stuff like that. That's how I occupy my time. I don't know. I play all sorts of things, though. That's just kind of what usually comes out. I appreciate the fact that you think this is looking great. It's a cheap guitar. They're really inexpensive on the used market. I got this for about a little over 300. So, am I a fan of playing metal? Yes, very much so. If you would care to take a quick peek at my channel, yeah, I've got a lot of weird crap on it. That's part of my personality, and everybody's got their quirks. But if you start taking a look through my covers, that's where you're going to find a lot of it. Metal. No, I'm afraid I'm not a Nirvana fan. Thank you anyway for playing. Let's, strike one. No, you're fine. No, I'm not a fan. I can tell you a funny story, though, about the whole Nirvana thing. After hearing me play, and I do know that there's a large, distance in time between when I say something or when your messages show up over here. So like 30 seconds or something. So you may have asked me that just, before I was doing the whole... type of thing. But yeah, so I was a real fan of like classical and neoclassical and thrash metal back in the day, and I was trying quite a bit, to get my chops in shape. And then all of a sudden, somewhere around 1991, this group came out doing a bunch of and hating on anybody who actually learned how to play their instrument. And so I'm afraid, Mr. Liquid Metal, I'm not a Skynyrd fan either. So sorry. I think that any group that decides that you should be hearing for like 80 bars, they have a real problem. So somewhat new guitar player started a few months ago. Well, that's great. I'm happy. Welcome to the fold. I have a great joke about guitar players. We grow on trees. But at any rate, this guitar. So I was playing in the store, and I was getting some pretty decent tones. I thought the pickups, what I heard about them being a little too tinny, I thought that was wrong. I think they have a really nice sound. I always like the Quantum pickups anyway, from Ibanez. The older Quantums, though, whew, those were real treats. These are not exactly the same. They are good, and I like them, but they're not exactly the same. I just don't have a reason to change them, except I think zebras would look nice. I'm a zebra guy anyway. So on with the story. I was playing it, and I was vibing on it, and I was a little concerned because the action was pretty high. And most people who have really high action, that's for new guitar players out there, the distance between the bottom of the string and the top of the frets is what's considered action. So low action typically means good fretwork. High action typically means bad fretwork. Medium action could be an indication of either. There are ways of telling. But I was concerned that because the guitar had pretty high action, that whoever set it up and brought it in, or they brought it in just trying to sell it, they're trying to sell it because they in this way, because they know that the fretwork is bad. And in fact, yeah, I was right. The fretwork is bad, but I know how to do fretwork. So as soon as I got it home, pretty much yanked all the strings off, gave it a quick fret job. All right, how is it? Okay, it needs a full fret job. So a couple of days later, I went ahead and I did that. Now it plays great. I'm really happy about it. Doesn't really fret out. It's good. And the action is substantially lower and much more comfortable. But yeah, good stuff. Skynyrd's not about the leads. Yeah, Skynyrd is about whining. I won't you fly high. Yeah, I'm not a Skynyrd fan, dude. I'm sorry. I just can't be. It's like, okay, it's like you're approaching me. This is, my thing about music is like food, right? That whole thing. It's like telling somebody who doesn't like carrots that they have to eat carrots because it's good for them. If you don't like carrots, you don't like carrots. It's not my fault, right? Good morning. So you're a thrash metal guy, mainly Metallica. Well, great. That I can accommodate you with. I mean, what do you want to hear? Well, I haven't played that in a long time. The whole... yeah, well, like I said, music's like food. I'm not trying to insult you by saying I don't like something that you like, dude. You have to understand that I'm just not where you are. It's like back with the food thing. And you have to understand that this is a perfect analogy for it. It's like saying that you like steak that's medium rare. And me trying to tell you that well done is the better option. You are not going to listen to me because that's not what you like. You already know that. What's the problem? There's no problem. I just don't care for it. So it's the same type of thing, applied here. I don't hold it against you. There's nothing personal about it. I just don't like something you like. And that's okay. You can like things I don't. That's okay too. Or not like things that I do. That's good. Slayer epidemic. Permanent disease. Something like... I never learned it, but that's the sound to my head. They do this. Yeah. And I think the other guy. Something like that. Learning to play Ride the Lightning. Yeah, I know it's not a big deal. That's what I was trying to tell you. I don't think it's a big deal, but, it shouldn't ever be taken personally if I tell you it's not for me. And, music appreciation aside, there are things that a person can like about things. I mean, like Zach, there wouldn't be early Zach Wilde if there wasn't Leonard Skinner. He loves them. So, I don't want to eradicate them from existence. It's just not something that's for me. It's like seasoning steak with sugar. Why would somebody do that? Well, somebody's going to like it. Somebody's going to probably do that. I just don't like it. So, yeah. Let's see. Learning to play Ride the Lightning. Nuance in that. Don't skimp on the nuance, because the whole thing with there's a little vibrato there. On the next one, there's a little bend upwards. Don't skimp on that. Morning! There's a couple of different ways you can play that. It's just a quick slide up from a A to a B flat. Or you could do it the way Mustaine wrote it, which is probably this way. The little spider chord action. Thunderstruck. Hilarious. Not really a fan of that either, but I did a cover a while ago. And we actually talked about this last week. So, pineapple on pizza. Exactly, dude. Exactly. And you're never going to convince the people who hate it or love it that either is wrong. It's just a thing. So, right on, man. So, yeah, the nuance. Nuance is extremely important when you're covering somebody else or when you're learning somebody else's material. Really try to flesh out exactly what those little things are that make it sound the way it sounds. That's where it's at. So play some Necrophagist. I'm sure there's going to be tapping involved. That kind of thing. But it's all going to be minor. Type of thing. But, I've actually never learned any. But, I've heard a lot of things like that. Sounds like that, but he ends on he ends on two notes more often than anything else. He ends on the fifth. So if we're playing an E, he'll either end on the fifth. You will hear alludes to flat five a lot, and seconds or ninths. Stuff like that. Shrekker Bruce! So Thunderstruck, that little is actually picked, and I mentioned this a stream I think a week ago, that this is really the only way you will ever get that sound, because it's picked. Now, to get that particular sound, it's not a really wide pick stroke. You just kind of have to dig in and kind of force the tip of the pick, with the volume off, force the tip of the pick kind of around the string. It's a little dance. So it's a pretty good one, you know. Oh, bless your heart, dude. Liquid Metal, my man. Or woman, I'm not sure. So, my parasocial relationship person. Thank you. Kind of flying V, dude. Because if you'll notice the pink chamfers in the background, I have one. I'm trying to sell it, but still. I've bought too many guitars, and I need to thin the herd. Nevertheless, I do have one. I love them. They're wonderful. So they're very interesting, though. They are hard to sit with, so I will warn you in advance, if you do a lot of sitting with the guitar, put a strap on it and cinch the strap up to non-binary. That's hilarious. Well done. Well, you know, you are a liquid and a metal, so, you know, so... Let me check quickly. Yes, you check. Try not to hit extra strings. Yes, I got the joke. Ha! Yes, yes. I've heard tales of such. So I think that when you oh, something about, I don't know. I have some sort of a joke swimming in my head about pegging. I suppose that's when you put the jack in it. So if the guitar is male. No, some Metallica riffs from back in the day. Oh yeah, you'll be happy. That's cool. You'll be just fine. There's a riff that I've gone back to often. Every once in a while, like from the Ride the Lightning era, Trapped Under Ice has some really good stuff. Again, another Mustaine tune that with a bridge pickup is better. How did that go? Was it that? Yes. What's that? You have, it's, what the fuck? So, I have a clue about guitars. Oh, you have no clue about guitars, so you don't know if Flying V is the same as a Flying V. King V is a Flying V, but it's Jackson's take on it. So it's the same as like trademarks, right? If you buy a Toyota pickup and it says, Ranger on it, well, that's a trademark that belongs to Ford, so that's going to be a problem. So they can't, for whatever reason, sell that, but they could sell a Tacoma. So it's their version of Ford Ranger. You might get a used Strat. What's your thought on single coil pickups, metal or hard rock? Okay, so I like single coils for metal and hard rock. It's not a traditional sound for metal or hard rock. The best tone I think I've heard from it, and somebody mentioned earlier Yngwie, so I'm going to mention Yngwie. If you get the Marching Out album, or at least listen to Marching Out, you will hear quite a bit of excellent single coil tones in a rock or metal context. Oh, you're welcome. I don't think I was actually done talking, but yeah. Let's see. But does it have 22 frets? Because 22 fret Squires are kind of hard to find. They exist, but they're hard to find. For an era, they made them with 21. Then they made them a little bit with 22. And then for another era, they made them with 21 again. Almost as if they really want you to get the Made in Mexico Strat, or the Player Strat is what it's called now, which is their first entry-level model with 22 frets. So, what Guthrie used to call a adult's guitar or something to that effect. Oh, yeah, yeah, no kidding. So if I just go like this, by the way, I'm going to be on essentially these two coils here. And it really kind of lowers down on all the... Give me a second here. Oh, hi, kitty. Excuse me. Let's use the plumes and plumes only right now. I mean, that's kind of a low sound. Edge of breakup. But you just don't get those kind of pops now, right? I believe they came out with one. And there is a really close option to that as well. There is, oh God, what's that called? What's that called? I have to think of it. The Dean Avalanche. I had a Dean Avalanche 7-string. It was extremely Strat-like, but it was rear routed. Nevertheless, single coils would be noticeably not heavy sounding, or could we replace stock pickups with a heavy single coil pickup? Going to remind you of a Nuclear Assault cover that I did, and I think it was for When Freedom Dies. I used a Schecter Nick Johnston on that, and that's single coils 100%. So it has muscular sounding single coils, and for what you're asking, I would recommend that you get something that's a little hotter output than the standard 5.0. Like bridge pickup, have something that's at least 7 or 8, and that will give you the muscle you need to go ahead and get the overdrive that you want. So, yeah. No, it's okay. I'm very happy that you're around, man. You take care and have a really blessed Saturday. So, if it actually is Saturday, I don't know. There's a lot of international dateline stuffs, you know. Happy to help. Really nice edge of breakup sound. I've said it before, the Plumes has got some magical stuff, you know? Oh, hi there, little man. You're just a good little guy. Let's raise that gain. Let's turn it to number 3. There we go. Decidedly not a metal sound. Actually, that's a cute one. Instead of going all the way up and back down, skip that part. Go right back to there. And instead of doing that, do this. Which is actually kind of going to screw me up a little because I just thought of it. That I haven't. Skip that, like I said. Interesting. So, you're just omitting one note from that. But that also means that when you get back down to here, you're not going to be continuing with the upstroke, sweep picking wise. Switch that around. You're going from an upstroke, series of upstrokes, instead of an upstroke. By the way, that's Marcus down there. He's a good little boy. It's hard to do. Give it a shot. Hard to do. And that would be an up and then a down. So that actually kind of starts you off on the right foot. Up, 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 down. Not easy. Give it a go. And of course, you're going to be playing with a cable, aren't you? Many other nicknames for this little fella. Him's just a little guy, and he is. Him's just a little guy. He's my very good boyo. Yes, he is. He's also known as Hammies because he really likes little pieces of ham. He's a good boy. So, and he's got the greatest little, attitude. He'll just wander around and look at you like this. Like, what's up, man? But yeah, there's some tones that single coils can get, man, that you just can't get with humbuckers. You just can't. It's not in the design. Closest thing you can do is what I'm doing right here with a little bit of low gain that's concentrating on a little bit of extra high end and splitting the coils in here, and that's the extra thwappiness. I don't know any other really real way to describe it. It's a little extra high end. Dude, you are not chewing. Okay, he's not chewing on the cable. You are not chewing on the mic cable. You're not. I'm chewing on the thing on the mic cable. Very funny. So, on with the show. I've had a busy week, like I said before. I haven't made any in a long time, but I've spent a lot of time altering the instruments that I get. So, learning songs by ear currently. Well done. Currently working on Sunstrom song. Never heard them. Don't want to say which, but they're a melodic rock like Journey. I love Journey, so that's fine. You can say whatever you want. I mean, Journey's great. So, you feel like Andy LaRocque uses front pickup a lot for solos. I feel like you're right. So, that especially, when you get tones like that, it's very, very neck pickup. But there's also a matter of just how crisp and clear the signal is. I don't think there's an awful lot of gain in Andy's tone, for instance. I think there's an adequate amount. Like right now, I'm not playing with a whole lot of gain. See if I can play something Andy-esque. Because he does do the Van Halen scale a lot, actually. So, even though the Van Halen scale typically shifts up a little, it's just that shape with the half step, whole step. So, yeah, Journey's significantly not country. Let's see here. It would be like saying, but you like Brussels sprouts but not carrots? Yeah. Because they don't taste the same. So, Yngwie doesn't mind 21 frets at all. Yngwie, in fact, only uses 21 fret guitars. But they're scalloped, so it is a little easier to just get in there in the meat of the string and bend it up that minor third. But he also plays an F sharp a lot. And so the minor has on the 21st fret, right there. You know, he doesn't have to go higher than that. He can, but he doesn't have to. And if he did, the next note in minor here, F sharp, would be a D. So he doesn't have to go up very far. He could go up to E if he wanted to, but I tell you what, he's not going up to F sharp. So, yeah. So, let's see. I can also say that as subjective as this is, I think quantitatively Journey has a lot better songwriting. So, James Murphy is an excellent guitar player. I have an interesting mixed bag of kind of feelings towards this, but keep in mind it's just feelings. I love the fact that Mr. Murphy writes out his leads, or at least he used to. You know, back when he was in Disincarnate, Death, all that kind of stuff. It was absolutely constructed using like a specific like Murphy-esque formula. This is what he does. He starts it out, like with a, and then you'll get some sort of a, but he doesn't like the flat seven, so. Type of thing, it's that's what I'm saying, man. Yeah. So he'll start it out with a particular type of thing, and usually it's harmonized extremely well. He is extremely accurate. He plays with good feeling. But over the course of, thank you, I appreciate that. Over the course of his life, there is kind of a low point, and that's on the Low album from Testament. I didn't care for his playing on that. I didn't think it was complimentary, but it was complimentary for what they were doing. Yeah, you can go back, now, adult me, looking back on that time and go, it fit. It was good. But at the time, I had kind of like a mixed bag about that. I'm like, this is not what he was playing in Death. This is not what he was playing, in Disincarnate or Cancer. This is not, it's not meeting my expectations for taking over for Alex Skolnick and destroying him, for quitting the band and changing his style so ridiculously that, and he's an artist. He has the right to do that. Of course he does. So, but, a 20-year-old, no, I wasn't 20. How old was I when he was in the band? I was probably 22. So a 22-year-old Kirk would look at that and see it as a betrayal of expectations, and it's my own expectations that was the failure. So yeah, that's when the tumor started. It's true. We could, and he had a real hard time with that, man. He had a real tough go. So he started doing like producing and stuff like that as opposed to guitar playing, because guitar playing was being affected by the tumor, and of course the surgery afterwards and whatnot. He was affected for quite a bit. But really, I will check it out. Thank you very much. So, Gorguts, Inoculated Life. Now let's find that. Head on over. Paste and go. Oh, I miss album covers like this. A lot, actually. Judging by song structures, and it's 3 minutes some odd seconds, I'm going to guess that this part here, which is the most replayed, has that lead. I've not heard this. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's great. I should learn that. That's really great. The thing that's really cool about this is it's I mean, besides it's melodic and, like groundbreaking for essentially the time. They not a lot of people in metal played like that. It was mostly like the whole the Slayer-esque type of things, and every once in a while just kind of slop, but the accuracy is really fantastic. And you know what punctuates the accuracy with this is lower gain. He is not playing through like a super highfalutin, supercharged amplifier. He's staging his gain to where he's still got a clean signal. It's a clear signal running through, and you can hear everything that he does. And that's one of the reasons why it sounds so fucking good. So, oh yeah, dude, that's great. That's really great. So the whole thing with the arpeggio deal in the front. Let's start that. E, thank you. Something like that. funny thing, the Plumes is also kind of like a Tomb Screamer, but there are a couple of different types of Tomb Screamers. There's the TS10, there's the 808, there's the TS9 from back in the day. The TS10 is a little much more expensive actually nowadays. I used to own one. There's a Metal Screamer, the MSL. That's basically a Tube Screamer with a little bit more bass in the signal. The whole kind of signal thing was shifted just a little bit. And by the way, I used to own one of those too. Those are not cheap. I want another one, but I want it in the better housing. But I want another one, and I want it and I guess I could get the JHS Bonsai, I suppose. But in reality, the MSL, every time you plug that in to the front of your amp to give it a little bit of a boost, it sounds like you're on your neck pickup, even if you're not. So it's just, it's not that, that it's completely round, but when you're playing these things, things like, it's not exactly like it, but it's like it. It's a hard one to say, but it's really great. So. Now what else did he do? Where did he take that? Now that is it. And I think it was it. Something like that. Fantastic. Fortin Mod Tube Screamer. Never heard of it? Gonna find it. I've heard of Fortin. I just didn't know they actually made a modded Tube Screamer. Tube Scream. I don't want to have to write it all out, but I will. Yes, thank you. Fortin Tube Screamer. There you go here. All right, what do you got? Oh, the grind. No, wait, it's not. Oh, it's not the grind. I see. And it is a TS808. So my preference is with the 808 as well. The 808 is freaking amazing. In fact, let me tell you what. You want a Tube Screamer that costs about $30? That's really good. That emulates a TS9 pretty well and an 808 extremely well. Get yourself something called a Captain Silver from K-Line or Saline. I'm not exactly sure. But so for in the cheap, I want to play a thing that sounds really great. That'll do really, really well. And I miss mine. I used to have one. But my Plumes does fine. It's fine. That's the only thing I'm using right now. Now, I don't have the tone adjusted. I have it adjusted in a way that'll allow for gain staging pretty well. So let's do this. Turn the gain down and up. As a boost, it works good. This is why so many people use them. So. By the way, thank you very much. So, for the compliment there. I don't know if it's epic. I just know that I've been playing a long time, and you pick up some sounds. Oh, there is a tool out there for hearing intervals, and I found it the other day, and I sent it to a student of mine who is on here somewhere, way up there, asking me if I still make my own guitars. So. And to answer that question, by the way, sorry, I think I didn't actually answer that question, is I don't often, at all, really. I have 11 guitar bodies that I've made that are sitting out in the garage, and about 4 neck blanks that I've made that are sitting out in the garage, one of which it needs to get finished and go to the person that it's supposed to go to, because as a project between friends, he wanted to kind of co-build a guitar together. And I'm like, well, I'm actually doing most of the building, but he's doing a lot of carving and stuff like that. But it's going to be his instrument at the end of it. So, and I've got all of his parts right down there. But I do need to at least shape the neck, and radius the fretboard, shape the neck, add the frets, finish the thing. And then I can get it to him, and his guitar is pretty much done. But yeah, good stuff. I'll have to try this out if I can find one. Of course, it's in stock. That's nice. How about $259. Yeah, the plumes is $100. This better be good. So let's see here. That's even more expensive than the tube screamer that I'm really interested in getting, called the Good Kitty, which is, it's just, bees music, because they put cats all over everything, and I'm a cat person. You may have noticed. I don't know. It's possible, but it's essentially the Cusack screamer, and that sounds freaking great. Really good. I'd say it gives the plumes a run for its money. It's a little smoother, and it's a little gainier. So the plumes doesn't have a lot of gain, but it's very good for boosting things. Isn't that cute? You can even end it that way instead of... That's not entirely true, dude. Not entirely true. Epic guitar. Very good. Like it very much. $300. So, yeah. You be a Shrek person, m'lady. Maybe. So, 'tis fine. 'Tis absolutely fine. But, okay. So, other things that I've been doing lately. I've been walking. Oddly, me, go outside. Well, we've had sun. We never get sun up here, but I can't really say never. We've had almost 4 or 5 days of sun now. And almost every day after work, I'm heading out for a walk, a little hike around, either a car park or something else. But my God, I'm actually feeling more energy. I'm feeling better. Still, sticking pretty much with the diet. So good. Let's continue the argument about getting what you pay for. I have an emanator from Pigtronics down there. I bought it used for $50. New, they go for about $139. It has exactly the sound that I want, and I am really happy with that. It saved me another $150 because I didn't want to have to buy the Strymon. Dude, Arizona was freaking great. Hottest it was while I was down there was 105 degrees. Coldest, I think, was probably at night somewhere around 85. So I was really actually got down to 70. So, but I was, as far as days are concerned, though, daytime highs, the lowest daytime high was 95. The trip was long and arduous. The road, those roads are not less traveled, but there's nobody around for hundreds of miles on lots of them. The total round trip was 3,081.3 miles. The La Quinta in Reno kind of sucks. The La Quinta in Orem, Utah is fantastic. Very good. Colonel Ford Solos car. Yeah, well, those guys can play too. So I'll get to that in just a second. They tune like, really low. So I don't know about that. Memorizing in one lesson. But Arizona, the trip itself was freaking cathartic. It was a vacation that I absolutely needed. I didn't know how much I needed it until I was already leaving there. But when I got back home, I didn't just screw off. That's the thing about this vacation. It's a little different than what I would normally consider a vacation. Just walking around, seeing the sights, doing whatever. Yeah, I bought that. Oop, there it is. Yeah, I bought that when I was down there. Day 2. Yeah, I bought this on the way home. Oops. But nevertheless, so. Oh no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, and it probably is worth the money. But I'm not shooting in the foot. It's just I'm cheap. I've always been cheap. But if I can take a guitar that's $300 and make it play like $1,000 guitar, I'll be really happy. And I'm talking about like in 1980s dollars, what $1,000 guitar would have been like. So that's I guess a $2,000 guitar today. But that's how I feel about it. And I can usually do that. So I look for like the cheap gear that can really give me the oomph. Dude, take care. I'm glad you stopped in. Take care of yourself, and maybe I'll see you Monday. You never know. So on with the show with the Arizona thing, though. and I'm going to try to concatenate it. I lived while I was down there on a farm. Um, there was a wedding going to happen very soon, within a couple of days of my arrival, and there was lots to be done. Myself and John, fellow groomsmen, we were harnessed for our capability to lift and move things. And so it would be like awaken in the morning. They feed us. You guys are wonderful, beautiful people. Thank you so much. It's such a nice thing, and it's always sunny, so it's such a nice day. And everybody's just kind of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, we got to move some of this stuff out here, these chairs and stuff like that. Could you put it in the truck? Yeah. So we go out, we move chairs, and it's immediately go go go. And shower comes later. Day one, the shower came for day one. But most of the time it was just like, move, go, do. And, it was like life on a farm a little bit, actually getting put to work. And it felt great. It felt really, really good. I live in Washington State, a state of denial and occupation. Out of shits and giggles, let's go ahead and pull up Carnal Forge. Hello, Carcass. There we are. Oh, Carcass. Home. That's Carnal Forge, right? Yeah, all right. All right, here we go. Oh, other people doing it too. So this was the first album I ever heard from Carcass. I came into the Carcass game late, and there's a story behind Carcass here, which is kind of neat. Everybody has stories, I'm sure, from when they were young, and things are introduced to them. So for me, it was late 1993. I was out of school, but I decided to go back into like a vocational training center and get some like CAD under my belt just to try to, I don't know, get better jobs and whatnot. But so I understood that, this is not typical. This is not a college. This is just kind of a trade thing. So I went there, and I met a guy named Joe. And I hadn't met him yet, but this is pretty much how the interaction went. I'm talking with a guy named Andy that I just met also not too long before this. And we're talking, he says something or another, blah, 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 and somebody comes up and says, were you guys talking about Metallica? The guy behind me the guy behind me was Joe. I didn't know it. We both said, no, it's Iron Maiden. Or, no, it's so-and-so. But either way, we both got the band right. And I don't really remember the entire circumstance, so it's a little bit of a fishtail at this point. But that's essentially what happened, is we both answered with the correct answer. And it was both like, it was this particular metal band that they got wrong that we were talking about. And I looked at him, I was like, I'm Kirk. Joe, hey, good to meet you. And we've been friends ever since. I mean, you pick up very few actual friends in life, that last through the ages. Joe and I have been friends since 93. And, we still work at the same plant. We don't, not like hang all the time or anything like that, but that was that. Joe introduced me to Joel. That was the guy I was the best man at the wedding for. And, I basically have two really, really good friends that I would trust with just about anything. Those guys. You guys are great, by the way. So, there are the Carcass purists. Joe was a Carcass purist, but Joe is the person that introduced me to Carcass. He happened to have a boombox with him that day, and he was like, have you heard this? And it started out with, of course, Buried Dreams, with that whole little, that harmonic, like a type of thing, however they do it. And I was like, holy crap, this is the sound I've been looking for my whole life, So Heartwork was a change of pace, because this was no longer grindcore. But it was something different. It was something akin to grindcore elements mixed with melodic death metal. It had more in common with Gorefest's Low, for instance, than it did with necroticism, you know. So. But I loved it. You guys argue it out. Have a good time. I just like the little gremlin vocals. Rah, you know. It's like a really angry small dog, you know. There we go. So, okay, a couple of things to remember. Even if they're using 11s, they're tuned very low. And for a low tuning, I mean a really low tuning, it's stupid easy to bend strings. And one of the reasons why their bends are so elastic and one of the reasons why their vibrato is so wide is because they're tuned so low. So it's just there's no weight whatsoever to the strings that, you know, that whole thing with, yeah, that's not going to happen. You do this little subtle movement, it's going to sound like, you know, it's a big wide thing. You guys want terrible production? I'll give you terrible production. Here we go for terrible production. Where's my listen folder? There it is. Musical and metal and Death and Beyond, all the way down to Ulver and Nathan's Madrigal. Do I win? So, again, I think that takes the cake. So most production, if you're going to do like competent production, would be double tracked rhythms, panned hard left and right each. So four tracks for most rhythm work anyway. If you wanted to do it right. And even then, you can do like a noisier track on a center channel just to try to fuzz things up a little bit, give it a little hair. Not necessarily fuzz as in like the violin fuzz of the 60s, the Hendrixian fuzz that I think sounds terrible. I like a much more pure overdrive sound. Yeah, it's black metal, for sure, but not all black metal sounds like that. Let's do another case in point. Back to the Z Drive, and the Listen, and the Musical, and the Death and Beyond, which incorporates black metal. And now, this is where the black metal purists are probably going to come in and say, well, if it's produced, it's not black metal. It's not cult. Spelled with a V. That's okay. I have an argument against that. And my argument against that is, shut up. Production in low, terrible, really, production values doesn't have anything to do with songwriting or content. So, you know, what are you trying to say? You know, you have to be poor, you know, and not be able to afford, you know, at least relatively good ears in production. You know, there are rumors that was recorded on a Fostex 4-track in the woods. And I'm thinking, gee, maybe. Okay, sure. But I got a better sound out of my Fostex 4-track than that. So, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but nevertheless. So, again, with black metal, Peter Tatgren is a producer. And we could easily go with something Peter Tatgren-esque, which is like Dimmu Borgir, for instance, and do Enthroned Darkness Triumphant. All I have to do is play the beginning of Morning Palace. Oh, Obscura is ridiculous, dude. Hi, Hopper. There's my boy. Come on, buddy. What you want? Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. There you go. So you can be black metal, and now I know some people would argue, like I said, that that's not black metal. It's symphonic black metal. What do you want? It is what it is. Let's go for a slightly different take on black metal, which would be like Dissection. So where are you? Right below it. That's great. Storm of the Lights, Bane, Unhallowed. Yes. If you don't know Dissection, by the way, you should check out at least this work. Storm of the Lights, Bane is one of the most classic albums of all time. One of those where there's not a bad song on it. I can't pick a single bad track, seriously. It's all good. No keyboards whatsoever. I thought about covering this one, actually. Okay, enough of that. Let's do... Yes, they were, weren't they? Most hilarious. My thoughts on the matter, though, Emperor in the early days had better production. So Enslaved had better production. Everybody had better production. Immortal had better production. So, let's see. Of course, Damned in Black was pretty good anyway. Blizzard Beast. Let's go to Blizzard Beast. You still hear everything. This sounds like an early Creator album. But a little more in your face. They also always had good riffs. Immortal, I don't think it's credited enough with having as good a riffs as they have. So... they're all kind of memorable, and they all kind of have this mechanistic feel to them. Samuel, Ceremony of Opposites. And not even talking about, what is that, with the spheres? No, not that. That was Pestilence. Whoops. Very mid-range tone. This was very modern guitar sounds. Modern is in like today, but done back in like 1994. Drum machine. Would never have guessed. I used to go to sleep to this album. It has since been replaced by audiobooks, mostly in the H.P. Lovecraft, August Derleth vein. But, it is what it is. But yeah, that album was fantastic. It always put me in a nice meditative mood. Let's go to sleep. Bring it down, baby, bring it down. So let's do the Emperor thing. Let's go for Hordane's Land. I Am Black Wizards, which is, of course, off of their first album as well. It's about the same. And then it gets better. Ishan obviously had some bad chicken. Drummer Trim has a channel, by the way. I do subscribe to him on YouTube. I would suggest you at least take a look at it, look into it. It's got some pretty interesting stuff. He does more than play drums. So, surprise, surprise. So, yeah. No, man, there's all sorts of stuff out there. And it's all better in production than that one Ulver album, which I believe they did on purpose. The story behind that, as far as I know, is that with the advance they got from the record company to do that album, they bought each of them Armani suits and one Corvette. They took a photo session with that, and that was the money for the album. They then proceeded into the woods with a Fostex 4-track and made that. Submitted it to the record company. They weren't apparently very happy about it. So, yeah, he does. Yeah. He certainly does. He looks like, especially nowadays, with the beard and all that kind of stuff. Back in the day, I don't think he looked like that. He looked like he smelled like eternity for men. I know this because that's what I smelled like back then. So, or Drakkar, possibly. No, he didn't look like a Drakkar guy. He looked like an eternity for men guy. So, before he shaved his head. But this. That's a little too much high end. I'm going to fix that. I have to let my dog out, folks. Give me all a second. And I will return. Doggo. You need outside room? Come on, girl. Here you go. I got you. Hold on. Hi. Good girl. Okay, scoot. Cats. Lots of them. Well, let's see. Comes a time in a person's life where they have to start looking up new music to get themselves interested in life and the universe and all that kind of stuff. We are today introducing this light to everyone. You don't see the light, but you see the light emanating from the light. Isn't that neat how, we have, the same word for the thing that's emanated from a thing for the thing? You know what I mean? So I got a lamp over there. It's a sun lamp. And I got it yesterday. It's like $150. I got it for $17.50. Always in for that kind of stuff. Velocity. If I ever get a chance, not sure if it's natural or sped up. Who's it by? Oh, Obscura? Is it Obscura? I'm only familiar with one album from them, really. And I think it was a continuation of Death, in my personal opinion. Like, if they didn't do Sound of Perseverance after Symbolic, but did this instead. Or not even Symbolic, because Symbolic was a step back in a way, too. So, it is Obscura. Okay. No, I don't think they speed their stuff up. I really don't, by the way. They don't have a reason to. They covered, I think it was Concerto. It was either that or Speed Metal Symphony, I can't remember which, but by Cacophony. And they didn't play it as fast as Cacophony plays it. So this whole, like... that kind of thing. Oh, shit, man. That would have been a great concert. I'm sorry you didn't get to go. But damn. Yeah, that would have been good. So let's continue with this. See what we can hear. It's heavy as hell, man. Good amount of eeriness. Well, you've given me my daily listening here. Let's do a lead. Hello, lead. Probably coming up. Calm before the storm. Ah. Ah! Ah! Yeah, I don't think that's sped up. Very smooth, very necrophagist. There's a reason for that. That was spectacular. Thank you very much for making me listen to that. I don't think... Well, a lot of people have fast vibrato. Kirk Hammett is famous for having vibrato that's too quick, for instance. But the only thing that would concern me is the end piece, where it does sound like the notes are kind of separated uncharacteristically of a guitar. So I'm not concerned by it. I think he actually did play it. But the way the notes run together, there's probably a bit of a noise gate there. He definitely has a string damper on because you hear no extraneous string noise. There's no extraneous noise from any other part of the instrument. It's kind of like pure guitar notes with just the right amount of timbre to make sure that you know it's a guitar, right? But as far as like the higher pitch stuff, it's just a matter of tapping with the edge of the pick on the string. So when you hear, you know, type of thing, that's that. I'm also pretty sure he was doing some 4-note per string type of things in there as well. I don't believe at all that that was faked. I think that he did every single bit of it, but I am suspicious of one spot. And that's towards the end, like I said, when the notes didn't kind of ring together like they mostly typically do on guitar. So he would have had to play with some extraordinarily low gain and extremely precisely to do it. Now, I have no doubts that the physical capabilities exist to do that. Did he do it? Probably. Benefit of the doubt. So, sir, I ever played a fretless instrument? Yes. Is it insane? Let's see. It's insane how difficult it is to stay in proper tune. Nope. So I had an Ibanez RG5. What is that? RG. It was a 770 PB. So the S770 PB, not an RG at all. And you can see that on a couple of videos I made, including the ones covering like Sato and Steal Away the Night. It's that one. I had a thought about changing that for a while, about changing that out, making it a fretless. And so one day, early on in my whole, let me experiment with guitars phase, I yanked out all the frets. And when I yanked out all the frets, I restrung it. And I thought, I'm going to play it. And I did. Now, the neat thing is, when you yank all the frets out of a guitar, I refretted it later, but when you yank all the frets out of a guitar, you still have the slots where the frets were, and those are about 2 millimeters or 0.2 millimeters wide. They're not very wide at all, but that's the actual like inflection point. That's the point that you actually want to be fretting. So we train to play lower than where the actual note lives. So we play behind the frets, and it's the frets where the notes live, right? Yeah, Slash. Hands down. He's not terrible, but he's definitely not a good live player. He's a studio musician, hands down. Great studio musician. Yeah, but it actually makes your ear better too when you're doing it. So sliding around, the only hard part is chords. And that's chords where notes are typically stacked one on top of the other or one on top of the other, like, these kind of things. That's kind of hard to do because you have to be right on everything. But you can do it. It can be done. It's not easy, but then violin isn't easy, and neither is cello. But it's a little easier in the sense that, they have less strings to worry about and are all tuned exactly the same distance from one another. So they don't have the this little 4-4-4 third 4 gap, that we have. So let's see. Without the first, okay. So going back to what I was saying regarding the guitar players that suck in real life but sound good on records. Pick a grunge guy. I don't want to drag Skid Row into the mud. I didn't really like Skid Row. I thought they were butt rock, just like, most of the stuff that was coming out at that time. I thought they were trying to look hard and sing poppy stuff, which I always thought was amusing. Oh, Youth Gone Wild, that's hard. Are you kidding me? Have you heard Megadeth, Metallica, Slayer, Testament, Nuclear Assault? Have you heard anything at all? Have you heard Overkill? So, yeah, but, all I can ask is he the guy from Pestilence that played in Obscura? Because that guy was a freaking monster. He also, let's see, there was another guy as well that I could talk about. Same kind of regard. Fretless monster. Sean Malone, of course. May he rest in peace. So that was a terrible tragedy. So, yeah. Anyway, going on with the story. So the thing, okay, really, let me go ahead and look him up. I think that's important. I was going to say the guy from Origin is also, like, absolutely ridiculous. That might be the guy. Nope, not the guy. Poor guy looks like he needs a meal, though. I'm a pretty good cook. I could certainly help him out in that capacity. So, what time is it? 9:18. Okay, we're good. So let's go ahead and do something interesting. Not really sure I want to listen to Barf. If you have any recommendations regarding this, like maybe First Fragment or something like that, or, maybe a Theratic, I'd be happy to go ahead and, throw down. If you got something specific, yeah, give me specifics. But I played that thing fretless for about a year, and I loved it. I do want to get at some point, and it should be pretty easy to build, in my opinion, because I don't have to worry about any kind of fret lines, fret markers, scale length, or anything. It'll make its own. But at some point in the future, probably near, now that you mention it, I'm going to have to make a fretless guitar. It would be fun. Good morning.
Good morning.
So as far as the vibrato thing from a little bit ago, Zach has a slower vibrato, yes, but it's also extremely wide. So if you're doing a Zach thing, pick a couple of harmonics and shake the hell out of that. That kind of thing. Good stuff. Solus. Okay, gotcha. Let's see. If Billy Sheehan was into tech death metal, imagine. Oh my God, that would have been a fantastic thing. I mean, besides the rather obvious. type of thing that he'd be doing, and all the whole type of deal that he does. I would be really cool. So, so Solus, thank you. So here we go. SOLUS. First fragment, and it's a playthrough. Huzzah! Oh, Coroner Shirt. I'm already a fan. So that's like the most underrated thrash metal band of all time. They're so good. They were so influential. To those who know. Get that slap choppy crap out of there. Okay, man, that is a joy to watch. I gotta say, the whole thing is great, epic, wonderful. Thank you so much for the recommendation. That's probably taking the cake for, if there was a prize to win, you would take it home, even though, yeah, that was fantastic. But yeah, this slap pop crap, I think it's well overstayed its welcome in music. Sure, it's rhythmic, yes. Get it the hell out of metal. No way. And I could see it and go like, oh yeah, he's being cute, but and I understand that it's a sense of humor thing, but why are you trying to put chocolate sauce on my steak, dude? Don't do that. So, yeah, I'm imagining they would credit him as fretless bass. It's funny, a long time ago, liner notes, you would have to get like specific with the instruments. I have liner notes, for instance, from, well, I don't have liner notes. We never had liner notes, but in a band that I was in, we were credited as being 7-string guitars. Because we had 7-string guitar. Oh, dude, yeah, this is. Oh, I want to use the term. This is the tits. Epic work. Okay, I'm going to stop now, but I'm just going to tell you that I'm absolutely, enamored by this. This is a great thing. The guitar work in the background, by the way, is also utterly fantastic. But I think how it's the construction of harmonies between the two components. Of course, the guitar is double tracked and harmonized, at least double tracked, but harmonized throughout the whole thing as well. But yeah, they are very spider-like, aren't they? But would it be? I think I should just tell you. I actually know a guy who can play a lot like this, and for whatever reason, he doesn't play like this much anymore. But he was the first guy I ever knew that did a lot of like 8-finger tapping and could actually pull it off. And he's just a bass guy. He didn't really play. Of course, bass players can play guitar. Guitar players can play bass, but guitar players playing bass does not make you a bass player. There's a difference, and just bass players playing guitar does not make you a guitar player. Again, there's a difference. There's a difference in mentality, thought patterns, approach. Everything is different. But the guitarist Phil Tuga, never heard of him until now. Awesome. So maybe I should look him up too. Phil Tuga. Tuga. Don't tell him I said that. Well, maybe tell him I said that. Good. The Stygian Oath. All right. I really don't think it has anything to do with any of the Dr. Phil stuff here. So let's go guitar. Somehow I have a feeling that nothing of what I'm watching here has anything to do with Phil Tuga. I'm getting hungry. Anybody else getting hungry? Oh, Tugas. All right. Tugas. Let's copy that and paste. Actually, yes. Tugas or not Tugas? Either way, he plays. I have seen this man play this cover. Yeah. Pizza. Yeah. Well, I'm not exactly doing that diet. It's much more carnivorous than that. So last night for dinner is probably what I'm going to have for breakfast. 2 eggs, 2 sausage patties. That's 4 things. 2 sweet peppers, and 3 little rolls of steak. They're tiny little shaved steak bits. And just basically, for me, that and the peppers combined make a nice kind of seasoning for the eggs. The sausage patties, on the other hand, they're about that big around, and if you put some of the egg stuff in there, you basically have a sausage taco. It's very nice. So yeah, but it is. I think it's time for breakfast. I think it's going to be time that not only breakfast occurs, but the shower occurs, because I'm still greasy from sleeps. Usually I've showered by now, but I was trying to be nice for my kid, who usually by the time I get in the shower, she actually needs to get into the bathroom because she's leaving around that time to go to work. And it's just a matter of accommodation. Look, it's the weekend. I don't have to go to work today. Thank goodness. Oh, I almost did. That was a part of the whole thing about being busy. For those of you who were not tuned in the very beginning, I was talking about how I had one of the busiest weeks I've had in a long time. And there's a whole like Wi-Fi upgrade happening at my work right now. It's a really, really big deal. And I'm kind of like the coordinator / liaison for the whole thing, to make sure that everything happens right, to make sure that it happens well, to make sure that it happens on time, and to make sure that they have the components they need to actually do the job. One of the things was supposed to be here on Tuesday. And that thing that wasn't here on Tuesday, they said, well, it definitely arrived Tuesday. Okay, well, we'll take a look. We looked everywhere in the shop. And it's a big place, like 300,000 square foot warehouse and everything. We're looking all over the place, mostly me and anybody else I could grab to look for them. And they weren't here. They're the antennas for the APs, so they're kind of important. But going around and looking, nothing. All right, look, we don't have it. If we did get it, it would be here. We don't have it, and nobody's just going to walk off with a pallet of stuff. So, yes, please end the stream before the shower. Oh, come on, you're ruining all the fun. So, yeah, don't you want to see how musical I am singing in the shower? Everybody wants to see that. So, okay, at any rate, so the stuff wasn't there. And I'm like, all right, we don't have it. It is not on site. There's no record of it being received. Who do they say signed for it? Nobody got back to him. This is their coordinator from Texas. Like, nobody got back to him. Finally, he receives word that they were lost. And that's not even true. He receives word that they were lost. And the next morning, I get a text 7 o'clock in the morning. It says, they weren't lost. They were never shipped. So they were marked as delivered Tuesday, but they never actually shipped. UPS for you guys. Great stuff. Anyway, so they said, we'll ship it overnight. We'll get it to you. You'll have it tomorrow. Well, that was yesterday morning. And I'm like, do you know what carrier it was? Because UPS doesn't deliver Saturdays. He's like, I don't know. Thank you. So, well, they're also the state of the industry. So what are you going to do? Anyway, going on, as I was saying, the thing that they did was like, we'll overnight it to you. Okay, so you'll overnight it. Great, no problem. Again, who's the carrier? I don't know. Last night, he emails me with tracking number, and I could recognize it myself. I've done a lot of shipping. I've seen a lot of shipping. Things shipped to me. That was a UPS tracking number. Go to the web, look up the tracking number. Yes, in fact, it does go to UPS. And I'm like, dude, they don't deliver Saturday. And he was like, maybe, I guess you were right that, if it was UPS, they're not going to deliver. So I don't have to go into work, in other words, today, which is really, really nice for me, because otherwise I would have had to go in just to ensure that if it was like FedEx, for instance, I think they still deliver Saturday. If they shipped it that way, I would have to be there to receive it. Otherwise, they ain't getting it until Monday, and these guys are going to be at work there pretty much all week. But where they go to deliver, these guys aren't accessing that area. So, yeah. Liquid Metal, always a pleasure. Take care of yourself. I will be playing out here, but I am going to go myself. So be well out there, everyone. And here's the, and play Torchlight, the original. It's actually a really good game. Very fun. Here we go. Doing a little bit of, I don't know. Not very clean today, that's for sure. Yeah, it's almost like about switch flip about a half an hour ago, and I went from I can play to I can't play. Fun. Anyway, good day, everyone. Have a happy Saturday. For those of you who wish to join on Monday, I will see you then. As of now, though,